Hello and welcome to the RHS Chelsea Flower Show 2026, an event supported by Range Rover. We're here with all the very best design and planting ideas for your gardens that won't cost a fortune.
Today the showground's packed with even more people looking for inspiration for their gardens, and there is so much to see and so many bits that you want to take home. I already know what I'm going to be planting this year.
Do you?
But if anyone is coming to the showground, I would say bring comfy shoes, because there's lots of walking around. Water bottle.
Water bottle's always good.
Umbrella.
Not going to need the umbrella, you can keep it in your bag.
All right, we don't need it.
Wall to wall sunshine, wall to wall.
And if you haven't got a ticket, do not worry, because we've got you covered. Today we're helping you to save time and effort in your garden. Call it a lazy gardener's guide. Our team of experts are standing by to share plenty of top tips, hacks and shortcuts so you can sit back and relax.
We've got the plants that don't need much attention, from woodland wonders to bulbs you can enjoy from spring through to autumn.
There is one tricky job for you though, and that's picking the winner of this year's BBC RHS People's Choice Award. We'll be giving you another chance to see all the gardens in the running and details on how to vote later in the show.
And I'm going to be chatting to EastEnders actor James Farrar to find out how he's recently fallen in love with gardening.
But first, I've stepped off Main Avenue onto one of the smaller gardens, the Woodland Trust Forgotten Forest Garden, designed by Ashley Aylett. Here to tell us how creating this style of garden could save us time and a lot of hard work in the long run is Frances. Hello.
Hello.
Now, this is a show garden.
Yes.
And it's based on our ancient woodlands, isn't it?
It is. It's meant to sort of represent a woodland, but it is very much a garden.
Yes.
When you stand here, you feel like you're in a little rural idyll, don't you?
Isn't it?
It's lovely.
Yeah.
But it is quite a low maintenance thing to create once you've planted it. You know, obviously you've got a lot of plants here. Once you get them in, they sort of tend to look after themselves a little bit.
So to get this effect at home, what do we need to be thinking about on the plants to use?
Well, the first thing is the trees. I mean, this has got quite a few trees in a small space.
Yeah.
But it's about the choice of trees. So things like the Guelder Rose, which is not huge.
I love this.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't
I'm
it?
going to put it in my garden.
Yeah, I mean, it's a useful plant. They used to call it cramp bark. Use it for like pain relief and stuff if you boil up the bark.
Yeah.
But no, it's beautiful, good for wildlife. You can see the flowers on it.
Yeah.
And there's lots of things like birch in here. Again, they're not big and they're deciduous, which means that you have that canopy coming in the spring. You don't have a dense, dark garden all year round.
So it's letting the light come through
Exactly.
to feed the plants. Low maintenance plants at the bottom.
Exactly. So if you have deciduous trees, you have a chance for planting underneath. Spring bulbs are great. If you choose ones that naturalise, like daffodils and snowdrops, then you'll have spring colour.
Yeah.
And then you have this much more dense later interest. So you have things like ferns, there's philopendula, and it's so densely planted that you're not really giving the weeds a chance to grow. That's the key
So
here.
it's about changing your mindset, 'cause a lot of people like that, those clean lines and look everything perfect. But
Yeah.
actually, this is serving itself.
I mean, I think that's the thing. Not everyone would like a garden like this. If you like a neat lawn, maybe this isn't for you, but if you like that bit of wilderness, then just letting go of the control is basically what low maintenance gardening is, isn't it? You just have to accept that things won't be as perfect, but they have this incredible beauty and wildness, and they kind of envelop you in softness.
Yeah. And what about our borders?
Well, I mean, gardens have boundaries, whether it's fences or walls. Here there's beautiful dry stone walls that have been planted up, but you can also add things like climbers. And if you want low maintenance climbers, Hydrangea petiolaris, the climbing hydrangea, sticks to the wall itself, so you're not having to spend lots of time tying things in and organising and neatening.
Yeah. And we've had a viewer question from Teresa. She's got, two south-facing borders. She's asking what sort of plants can she use for, that low maintenance and she can use in her garden.
Okay, well, I mean, that's completely the opposite from what you see here, but what you want in south-facing hot borders would be, arid tolerant, so things like herbs, lavender, rosemary. They can also cope with wind, so if you have a lot of wind, there'll be reduced foliage, nice bright colours, scented foliage, and then you're onto a winner.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Frances. Now, there are lots of different ways of making gardening a little easier. Carol has been out and about choosing plants that don't need much attention. Treat them mean, keep them keen.
Nowadays, even if we're mad keen plant lovers, sometimes we don't get the time we really need to look after our plants properly. But there are some plants that won't keel over, even if you can't find time to cosset them. you're a plant and you live on top of a mountain, then what have you got to contend with? In the winter, real cold. In the summer, beating hot sun. And if you live amongst rocks, then there's probably very little soil there too. Well, some plants can really manage that sort of situation. And here's one of them. Isn't it spectacular? This is a saxifrage called Nicholas. It has wonderful little encrusted rosettes that sit together and make new plants all the time, so the plant spreads. And it lives in those little crevices between rocks. And it can put up with weeks and weeks on end without water. So it's the perfect plant if you want to plant up a big alpine trough or even a pot or container. Absolutely superb. And just look at those flowers. You may have a spot, perhaps in dappled shade or maybe in full sun, where you don't get much chance to water, but you want something fairly substantial that's just going to get on with it on its own. This is Euphorbia Miner's Merlot. It's called Miner's Merlot because it's like wine. Its foliage in the spring is really rich ruby red, and then when you get its inflorescence, it really lights up the place with these bright limey green flowers, and it needs very, very little care at all. Some of us get worried if we've got a very, very dry, sunny place, but there are plants which will really fit the bill, and this is one of them. This is Geranium sanguineum, Elspeth. And I really love her because she's a little bit taller than some of them, but she's got a real spring in her step. She forms this quite big mat. And the thing is that she really will suppress the weeds. So 2 jobs in one. This is one of my favourites, Sanguineum striatum. And I've actually seen it growing in pure sand, sprawling about and producing this mass of pale pink flowers. So if it'll take that, it'll take practically anything.
Now, these days, many of us live in built-up areas and don't have a lot of outside space. Our very own urban design expert, Flo, has been exploring a small courtyard garden that could inspire you to create a peaceful retreat from city life.
This garden is making a bold statement. They've taken a classic Persian design and reframed it in this small footprint. I think it's a stroke of genius. Now, small spaces, don't be humble with them, go bold, and they've done exactly that. They've given 4 multi-stem trees space in the 4 corners, and what it does, it gives height to the garden. It's always good to put trees in because they raise your gaze. They give shade, they give atmosphere, and makes the garden feel really enclosed. So we've got height. Then at ground level, we've got these planters that are at different heights. High up here, lower down here, and they're angled, so they push into the center, so it feels a lot more spacious. There's a lot going on in this garden. It feels very ample. This is a lovely little spot to sit in. And these planters mean that the planting is literally wrapping around me. Now, what's so gorgeous about this garden is the green, which is a really restful palette. It's largely evergreen, which means you've got year-round presence. So the space feels really calm. Green can be really interesting. There are so many different depths and hues and shades. It just keeps your eye interested wherever you look. There's the dark green, for example, of the allicacia. We've got hostas over there. I love these clipped yew balls. Just brings a little bit of structure into the planting. The pops of colour just lift the garden a little bit. The anemone and the iris will just give a little pop.
There are very distinctive zones in this garden. We've got wet areas, planted areas, seating area, and this beautiful communal space. The Persians think of water as a celebration of life, and it truly is. And in a garden, it may be you're thinking about it as a water feature, but increasingly we need to think about how we capture rainwater. There are two systems in this garden for capturing water. We've got the rain chain, gathers water off the guttering, down through this chain into a basin at the bottom, and then that water can then be used to irrigate the garden. This feature, we've got a tank at the end here, a rill channeling the water down. We've got the lovely sound of the water as well. But again, this captured water can be used to irrigate the garden. But you don't have to invest in a really expensive system. Something as simple as putting out some buckets when you know there's rain forecast is enough to be part of that movement of capturing water and doing good.
The Great Pavilion is packed with top experts growing world-class plants. So, if you're looking for inspiration on how to grow your favourite flowers, then it really is the place to come. And today I'm tapping into the expert knowledge of Esther Neymat to find out what it takes to grow fabulous fuchsias. And they truly are fabulous, aren't they, Esther?
They
Look
are.
at that as a display, but are they easy to grow?
They are very easy to grow, absolutely. You can grow them in the ground, outside. You can grow them in hanging baskets, in pots. They are really suitable for all environments.
I mean, they do look stunning, but growing up as a child, and I remember them being absolutely everywhere. They were such a firm favourite. Would it be fair to say that they slightly went out of fashion and they're coming back in like all good things?
I would say so, yes. We're definitely working on it that they come back to fashion. We all grew up with fuchsias, and it's so nice to relive those childhood memories when you are a grown-up and just plant something nice that brings back memories into your life from your childhood.
Absolutely, we're celebrating retro, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Now, we've got some questions coming. You are
Yes.
our expert. Are you ready? First of all, Python has got in touch on Instagram. What's the secret to keeping these blooms looking vibrant?
Food and lots of more food. They are very greedy, especially if they are in pots or hanging baskets. In the ground, not so much. Once or twice a year, feeding is enough. But in the pots, once a week.
Wow, that much. Okay, good advice. Annabelle, hello, welcome. Hello. Now, where do you live at the moment?
Aberdeenshire in Scotland.
Ooh, and what's your question?
It's very windy where I live. Is there a variety best suited?
Anything, all of the hardy varieties can work in your windy spot. Just make sure that it's a well-drained soil. Grow them on first in always a slightly bigger pot, and when you plant it in the ground, plant it deep and give some food so they get well established before the winter.
See, that's all the answer there, wasn't it? Steph on Instagram, hello Steph, she says, do I prune my fuchsias twice a year to keep them flowering?
Not really related. You can prune your fuchsias, obviously, before flowering season, so it brings up a better body, more shoots. But if you want it to flower, again, feed them. And after the last pruning, there is 6 to 8 weeks normally when it starts blooming again.
Lovely, thank you. Elaine, you've got a question, haven't you?
I do. Since they're outdoor plants, I wondered if there's a way of overwintering inside so that you could then replant outside.
That's a great question.
Overwintering, not indoor the house, but greenhouse would be ideal. Otherwise, garage, shed, conservatory also can work. Anything that is a little bit sheltered with a little light. And don't forget to water them every now and then. If you just check it every fortnight, if they need any water, then it will be great.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, ladies, and Esther, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, a really easy way to pop some colour into your garden is by planting bulbs. Who better to guide us through the best to choose than one of the RHS bulb experts, Camilla Bassett-Smith.
Bulbs are the bedrock of our botanical world. They're both easy and reliable, and they pretty much flower every month of the year. But you wouldn't expect to see them all in the same place at the same time. But luckily, here at Chelsea, we can. Tulips are the iconic springtime flower. They're one of the most colourful bulb groups you can find. I love the double ones. They look almost like peonies. Or you can get the real characters, the parrot tulips. It's really one to make your neighbours envious. One I particularly love is this one called Greenland. And the green striped varieties are actually the best at coming back year after year. So that's one to go for if you want year-on colour every year for your borders. And now is the time to be getting your bulb catalogues and circling the tulip bulbs that you want to order and plant in the autumn. Camasias are the classic Maytime flower. Now camasias, unlike us, quite like the wet winter that we had. So very good alongside a pond or in damp meadowland. They look beautiful naturalised in grass. And that's really unusual because most bulbs like it quite dry. You can buy them as potted plants now and just pop them in the garden, but it's cheaper to buy them as dry bulbs in the autumn. If you're looking for a show-stopping summer bulb, then let lilies be the leading ladies of your garden. By far my favourite are the Orientals, and they have a most sublime fragrance. This one is a new variety called Anuska, and it has these beautiful pink-edged white petals. Now, the Oriental lilies like an acidic soil, so that means you need to buy ericaceous compost, and you can get it very easily from garden centres or DIY stores. Now, as far as planting is concerned, you need to put your bulb in about 3 times the depth of the bulb, and that's the same with any bulb. And with lilies, around 5 of these to a 25-litre pot is perfect. But remember, drainage is key. Finally, a bulb for autumn, which is really easy to grow. This is the Nerine. You have these beautiful, long, elegant stems, which will flower between September, October, even sometimes into November. The place to plant them is against a south-facing wall. The bulbs love to be baked over summer. Now is the time to plant them. But unlike other bulbs, you don't need to bury them. These ones like their necks exposed above the soil. So pop them in, and come autumn time, you'll be rewarded with loads of autumnal jewels. So whatever your garden conditions or your personal preferences, there's definitely a bulb for you.
Camilla will be back later to create some gorgeous containers that put one of the nation's favourite bulbs centre stage, the allium. But first today, we're looking at ways you can make gardening a little easier. Here with a great hack to show you how to grow more for less, it's Maria.
Hello, I'm Maria from Scarborough. And because I live near the sea, I don't have a lot of space, so I tend to grow most of my things in containers. However, recently I've discovered a way of growing vegetables and salads from scraps. It happened quite by accident, really. A while ago, I decided I'd try and attempt to make my own plant food, so I got all sorts of kitchen scraps, put them in a bucket of water, and then promptly forgot about them. A few weeks later, to my amazement, I've discovered that many of them actually grow into new plants. Now, what I do at the beginning is, for instance, with the lettuce, is cut it off like that, take off any old leaves from the outside, and then pop it into some water on a windowsill, which is not direct sunlight, but quite bright light. And then, at the bottom, after a few weeks, you will get roots. Now, this is one that's had a couple of weeks, and see how it's already growing into a new lettuce. And as soon as it starts at the bottom to get roots, it will get put into a pot. One of my favourites is this wonderful, wonderful celery. And you can see how it's grown incredible new celery stalks. Why not try it? Because it's absolutely free, doesn't cost you a penny, and it looks beautiful, it's great, and it's really, really good fun. So thanks for watching, and do have a go.
How good was that?
So impressive. It looks so simple.
I think I'm going to be starting to grow some leeks, celery, anything really, just to grow my own.
I failed with tomatoes. No one fails with tomatoes apart from me. So perhaps lettuce and onion are going to be easier. What do you think?
I think it'll be great, and then we can just make our own salad together.
Oh, delicious.
Yes. Now, another great way of making more from less and saving a bit of money is finding a second life for everyday items. Here's Carol and Martin from Colchester sharing their tips.
Such clever ideas from Carol and Martin there. I just love what they've created, and the fact that you can build a greenhouse by reclaiming stuff and making it work in an odd sort of design and space. It's brilliant.
So good. It reminds me when we renovated the house, actually, we found these old water tanks.
Yeah.
And they're massive. So I just need to, we kept them, we want to get them treated and plant trees in them and just dot them around the garden. I think it would look really special and also keep the history of the house.
Making them a feature.
Yeah, really good.
Personal touch, I like that. There's plenty more to come today on the RHS Chelsea Flower Show 2026, an event supported by Range Rover. I'm going to be finding out from EastEnders actor James Farrow why gardening has become the perfect antidote to a busy life on the square.
And there'll be another chance to see the large show gardens in the running to win the BBC RHS People's Choice Award. Who wins? You decide.
Yes. But now, if you're looking for borders that are easy to maintain but still stunning, opting for lush green foliage could be the answer. Here's Toby with the perfect recipe for designing a beautiful border that will cut your workload.
If you want a garden that looks good for the longest time, for the least amount of effort, foliage is your friend. Now, I know what you're thinking. I want flowers, I want colour. But here's the thing. The human eye can distinguish more shades of green than any other colour. Over 50. And there's names for every one of them. Now, I'm on the Young Minds garden, and just in one corner of it, there are dozens. There's emerald green at the back by the boulders. Bit of pea green rising above the fern. Another colour, fern green. On this side, some lime green. A shard of jade. And then back on this side, what about this? British Racing Green. Now this isn't just some abstract concept, it's really good to know, especially when you're setting out your borders. Because if you combine plants with different coloured foliage, different greens together, you'll create a tapestry at ground level that will look good for months, long beyond your flowers. Combining different shades of green is just one way of making foliage look fabulous. It's a trick designers call texture. Now, texture is the way foliage looks like it feels. Not the way it actually feels, but it's just about the look. The moss here at the front of this little border, small foliage, forms little mounds, it creates a cushion. It has a soft texture. The grass above it, it's got long leaves with points on the end, so it has a spiky texture, even though it's actually soft to the touch. And in the middle is an alchemilla or lady's mantle. Corrugated angular leaves give another texture, and by combining all three together, you create a really interesting and deep weft and weave in your borders. If ever you've wondered where to place a particular plant in your garden, well, a good starting point is, well, seeing what the neighbours would think. Place it in amongst them, and if its foliage stands out and makes them look more different, makes them look better, well, you're onto a winner. The beauty of these tricks is that they're not bank breakers. You can just shuffle around the plants that you've already got. The impact works from pots and patios to huge gardens every single time. And obviously, the bigger the leaf of the plant, the greater the impact. I'm not saying don't have any flowers, but the more green you have in your garden, the better you feel.
My guest today is certainly not a lazy gardener. He's put in a lot of hard graft into creating the perfect garden for him and his young family to enjoy. Visiting Chelsea for the first time, it's EastEnders actor James Farrow. Welcome. I mean, what a day to come. Sun shining, blue skies. And we are surrounded by gorgeousness, aren't we?
Incredible. And I think you've got some more sun to come this week.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
we've
It's
lucked out.
hotter and hotter.
Yeah.
James, was gardening something that you did as a young child?
Yes and no. I used to turn my dad's compost and allow that to nurture his allotment. But strawberries, finding my first strawberry, I remember that.
Do you? How old would you have been?
5 or 6, probably.
Oh.
And we've just brought in some raised planters at home, so my little one can find her first strawberry this summer. It's the first year, so I'm looking forward to that.
Lovely. Getting them excited about gardening. I mean, I know you're relatively new to gardening, but when you bought your house, what was the garden like? Did that attract your attention, or was it the house itself?
It was the garden.
Was it?
We hadn't even stepped foot into the house, and I think I said to my wife, there's a little forest area at the back. We're on just under an acre. I said to the estate agent, do you mind if we just have a minute? Went back there, I said to my wife,
we've got to have it, we've got to have it. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? But what was the garden like? Was it mature, or did it need work?
No, mature. The wisteria that we inherited is the most beautiful wisteria, so I've then obsessed over the fact that twice a year I'm pruning that, 2 buds at one point, and Summer does it with me. The daffs.
Is Summer your daughter?
Summer's my daughter, and honestly, she's got a little swing by the massive tree that we've inherited as well. We've got a Grade 2 listed wall that, to be honest with you, it deserves a little bit more, and I think you've got a bit of footage about a wellness area that we have created only this week. I actually only sent the footage yesterday. I was like, come on, if anything's going to keep me accountable, it's Chelsea Flower Show. And that is to ensure that wellness is really important to us, you know.
So when you're out there in the garden, I mean, you must have such a busy schedule when you're filming EastEnders. You know, do you have to prioritise, or do you manage to get outside most days?
Every day, I have to.
Every day?
Yeah, I just feel like when I wake, for my nervous system to naturally wake up, it's nice to just step out. Both the girls are in bed, and I just go out prior to getting in my car to go to set and just wake up the right way. We've got running water over there now. We run a retreat, so we're very wellness focused. So nature is part of that retreat. We brought that to southeast London, and there's nothing better than being able to go out every morning. We've got a sauna out there, we've got a little plunge, so I've got my little wellness area opposite the area that we've just created, so it's kind of all there.
Perfect.
Ready to go.
I've got visions of you in your PJs and a coffee in hand, just sort of perusing your garden.
PJs on my pants, yeah, whatever I roll out of bed with. No one's there.
And how important is it to get your daughter involved with gardening as a family?
I think what each season represents is really lovely.
Yeah, good point, yeah.
We're not brilliant at resting, but rest during the winter, and then the hope that comes around at certain points of year, and the abundance of the summer when things really thrive, and keeping on top, looking after things, you know. Her watering, we do have an irrigation system that helps with things like hydrangea that I didn't realise how much of a...
They love it. Hydra, meaning water. Yeah, you're going to see some beautiful ones here. I mean, as you're walking around, that's the lovely thing about Chelsea, is not only are we surrounded by experts, but so many different varieties, and you can ask people, you know, what's the best plant in your garden?
I need to talk to the people over the allium, because I love them. And they're not out for long, but I'd say allium part of the year, but things that bring us the most joy, the wisteria. Yes. The magnolia is just stunning. And I'd say my pride and joy, just because we put it in, selfishly, is the hydrangea.
Really?
It took a lot.
Yeah.
I took out, it's 25 metres,
wow.
and I took out all of the old matter and brought in all of the new.
That's double the size of my garden. As you go round, I mean, you will see so many things that you're going to want to take home, and you're going to have blooms for the rest of the year. Before I let you go, we've got to ask you about EastEnders. Any good storylines we should be looking out for?
Plenty. We're doing really well. We won the BAFTA recently, but the next part of the year is very important. We've got the NTAs coming up in September. My story is massive next week.
Next week?
I can't tell you what's going
let's
on,
not
but
get
it's
into trouble.
Fireworks.
Right, we've got to look out for that, and I also want you to enjoy yourself today. So
bless
go
you.
around, explore, take inspiration, and what a joy to have you on our show. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Now, earlier, Camilla showed us how to choose a variety of bulbs to bring colour into our gardens all year. And she joins us now to showcase one bulb, and today it's all about the allium, which I absolutely adore. Look at it.
They are so beautiful, Angellica, and I think part of the appeal is the variety. You know, you have these beautiful structural forms with these huge spheres.
They're like spherical forms of beauty standing tall on these sturdy stems.
They really are. But then you get the cute little ones and the ones that are a bit unruly, so there's something for everyone, really.
Okay, so what type of allium is this one?
So this one is called Universe, and it was introduced in the last 20 years, which is quite new for alliums. Yeah. So it's a really big flower, and it works really well in a formal structure like this because they're standing tall. They've got good, thick, straight stems. I've popped 3 in at the back, and that already gives you kind of foundation at the back.
Yeah, they're like soldiers ready
really
to go in and
do their thing.
Do their thing. So what have we got?
Next, we're going to pop in. Now, this is some pennisetum grass. Now, I've picked a grass that's quite upright, again, doing that structure. But the beautiful thing is, as the allium foliage dies back, this grass will cover that dying foliage.
So you should not cut it back. Keep it there.
Yeah, keep it there, because the foliage is basically next year's food for the bulb, and that's the same with any bulb, whether it's a daffodil or a tulip. But yeah, leave that foliage there. The grass here is just going to cover the dying foliage, but also, later on in the year, it's going to send up purple plumes of flower as well, which is really complementary with the colour scheme of this. Now, at the front, I love a bit of bacopa. This is a self-cleaning plant. Now, what it does, you don't need to deadhead it, because it sheds its own dead flowers on its own, which is really clever. We'll pop one in front of each of the grasses, I think. So again, keeping this symmetrical. When you're formal planting, it's all about symmetry. And we've planted into multi-purpose compost here with a little bit of grit.
Yes, so just any grit like this?
Yeah, any grit is fine. And what that does, it just means that you've got good drainage for your bulbs, because all bulbs like good drainage. They don't like to be sitting in water. And then at the end and the sides, I think you've got a few there.
Yeah.
The humble Busy Lizzie. Now, it gets a bad press, the Busy Lizzie, I think. But they are just so good. A, they're so cheap to buy. You can get them everywhere. And they just keep on flowering. And they're good for shade. But I grow mine in full sun, and they're absolutely brilliant. So a little bit of white in there.
You're just packing them in. I'm just carrying on.
Yeah, just do that, and they'll just kind of mould together. Can I pinch one of yours?
Yeah, do that.
There we go. Lovely.
It looks
one more
great.
At the back. And
it really complements these alliums.
Yeah, it does. And I think as well, the purple with the grey slate just works really well.
Okay. So we've got another allium here.
Yes. Now, this is a million miles away, isn't it? It does not look like that, but this is one from hundreds of years ago. This was first found. This one's called flavum, and it's just so different from this. But it works really well in a natural setting. We've got a terracotta pot here. So natural pot with this at the back. And I'm going to pop in this some ponytail grass.
But while you're doing that, I just wanted to ask a few more questions about it. Do you have to deadhead alliums?
No, you don't. I mean, people want to, and anything goes over, but the seed heads are just so glorious. They're like little skeletons, and they stay there for the rest of the year, almost like garden sculptures at the back of your pot, and they're great for pollinators as well, and little hidey places for little bugs. So really, it's best to keep them there, and then they self-seed as well. For the alliums that set seed, they will just make more baby alliums.
So what else are you putting in that pot?
Well, I'm going to put, I think, an Erigeron cavanscianus, which is the Mexican fleabane. And I love the way the front of this little daisy, the yellow, just ties in with the yellow.
You're always thinking, complementing these flowers, which is great. They're from the onion family, aren't they?
They are indeed, yeah. So you get edible onions, and then you get ornamental, which these are. And yeah, there's just so much variety in the world of the allium. Really is.
And Camilla, a great money-saving tip is to plant them yourself with bulbs.
It is, really. And yes, you can buy them as potted plants now, but it's far cheaper and better to get them as bulbs in the autumn. And not only is it, I think, the best thing to do, but it teaches us to be patient, because when you plant a bulb in the autumn, you've got to wait a number of months until you get this. And I think in this world of social media and everything being instant, I think that's a really important lesson.
And once they bloom, you feel so good.
You do.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Now, if you're looking to grow a tree in your garden but think it could be a tough task to take on, there are some varieties that are easier to grow than others. Here's Sue with her guide to growing a colourful showstopper that's beginner-friendly.
Trees can provide a permanent structure and height in your garden, and the most popular is the Japanese Acer. These small ornamental trees come in a range of colours. Now, you may not have room in your garden for as many as these, but I'm sure you've got space for one. The first is a classic red Acer. This is an old Japanese cultivar called Sumi Nagashi, and it has good branching shape and strong growth. It can grow up to 15 feet. It is a super colour set against this other green. This lovely purple makes a really good contrast, and they've got palm-shaped leaves. This example is fruiting, but it'll take a while until the autumn for the seeds to form at the base of the fruits. In fact, this whole stand is about showcasing how to grow acers from seed. And if you look behind me, they've got these really cute 2-month-old acers. And over here, they've got 12 young 3-year-old acers in a pot. So if you're thinking of having a go, it's not that difficult and hugely rewarding, but if you're going to grow from seed, it won't be the same as the parent plant. It could be a different colour, it could be a different shape, but it's worth having a go. From an old acer to a brand new cultivar, this is Acer palmatum golden trompenberg, and just look at the colour, it demands attention. This zingy green is going to turn colour over the year. It's going to go from green and then golden in the autumn, and it has distinctive curled leaves. And the leaves need protection from direct sunlight or they may burn, so they're best grown in partial shade or shade. They're going to grow to about 8 to 10 feet, which makes them super for a small garden. This is Acer dissectum. It's got fine feathery foliage and it's even got some seeds. And if you look carefully, the leaves are almost dissected, hence the name. It's a small acer and it forms a lovely green mound, which would look great next to water. It will provide a beautiful reflection. Because it's small, it will grow well in a pot. So if you're thinking of moving house or you're renting, it will be a great choice. So there you go. I've shown you 3 acers, so you've got absolutely no excuse for not having them in your garden.
I'm here on a little garden of shared knowledge designed by Katerina Cantalis, the winner of this year's RHS Best Balcony and Container Award. It is a huge achievement because this is her first Chelsea garden. A huge congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah,
how
amazing.
are you feeling?
Oh, yeah, amazing. Overwhelmed, ecstatic, yeah, just thrilled. I couldn't have dreamed for, yeah, anything more, really.
Well, the judges and everyone visiting has seen this balcony garden as being extra special, and it has an important theme, doesn't it?
It sure does, and I think for me it's a celebration of gardening and a tribute to gardeners as well. It's a tribute to my parents because I learnt from them really when I was a small little girl, and it's really sort of showcasing and bringing together the wonderful world of vegetables, herbs, fruit and then flowers all into one space.
Is that something that they grew when you were growing up?
Oh, absolutely. We had a pomegranate in our front garden. We had fig trees, so every time I'd come home from school, I'd be climbing that fig tree because I love figs.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. My dad was the king of tomatoes, so we learnt so much from that respect. And then my mum was everything else, so the fruit trees, the vegetables, and she still to this very day has her garden.
Does she?
She's always pottering about.
So
absolutely.
they were handing down the knowledge.
Absolutely.
Well, we want a little bit of your knowledge, if you don't mind.
Of
Things that we
course.
can replicate, because we are on a balcony garden, and it's difficult to remember that because it is so beautiful and there's a lot going on. From growing seeds, for example.
Yeah, and I think the really important thing is that this is only 5 metres by 2 metres, and what I've been saying to people as well is like it's all about taking ideas and inspiration from this space. So growing seeds, so the whole concept is that we start off with the work productive area, so we've got this beautiful potting table, but it's where you sort of start the cycle, so it's where you can grow your seeds, and then as you can see in the front, then we've got all our little seeds and that are sort of starting to grow and nurture. And part of it is it's all about replenishing the stock that's in here. So, for example, we've got this beautiful pak choi, which is very ready to be eaten.
It's looking great.
It's looking amazing, yeah.
I mean, this is great to get young people into it, to get children, to get them energised and excited, and also to learn as well.
Yeah, so the whole concept is basically it's a retired couple. They've had gardens most of their lives and they've downsized. So they didn't want to lose that aspect of having a garden.
Yeah.
But also part of that is all about so much knowledge that they have.
Oh.
So for them, it's bringing in their grandchildren, you know, sitting down with the little stool and showing them, tasting.
It's beautiful,
Yeah.
so beautiful. Well, you can now relax, can't you?
Yeah,
you can enjoy the rest of the
absolutely.
week, and we can
Definitely.
enjoy your garden.
Oh.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Huge congratulations to Katerina. Now, there'll be more celebrations tomorrow when Dame Mary Berry joins us to reveal the winner of the BBC RHS People's Choice Award. She's had a long love affair with RHS Chelsea and always makes a beeline for David Austin roses. Now, this year would have marked David's 100th birthday, so in honour of the great man's legacy, let's take a trip down memory lane to when Mary visited the nursery.
I've always loved roses. They're romantic, they're beautiful, and I especially love the pastel shades. One of the great highlights of my year is coming to Chelsea, and when I think of roses, I think of David Austin. So I've come to his home to find out more about the man behind the roses. I'm meeting David's son, also named David, in the family's private garden. Look who we've got here.
We've got the peacock.
A great friend of yours.
Yeah.
How did your father first become involved with roses?
It came from an interest in gardening, really. From a very young age, he was designing gardens for his mother, and he just used to look at seed catalogues when he was a boy, and then he got into the idea of plant breeding, and he had an ambition right from the beginning to do something in terms of plant breeding, and he picked the rose because he felt there was something he could do with the rose. The rose at the time was dominated by the hybrid tea, which he didn't like. He loved old-fashioned roses, which he'd seen in his own garden. First success was Constance Spry in 1961. He had been breeding roses then for well over 20 years, but Constance Spry was actually only a once flowering rose, so it was just the start.
How many roses in the whole of your father's life did he produce?
He was quite prolific, 3 to 5 a year, and it numbers over 200.
You've been breeding roses for yonks. Has the ethos changed?
The basic idea of a repeat flowering old-fashioned rose and a more beautiful rose is still at the core of everything we do.
To create a more beautiful rose takes time, dedication and expertise.
Would you like to have a go?
Yes. Gently to tap like you did.
Yes.
So I've come to meet Carl Bennett, head of breeding. You knew David's father really well. You worked with him for many years. How many years?
30 years. Most
Good.
of those very closely.
You don't look old enough.
I am.
So how do you start about breeding roses?
The whole idea about breeding is to observe what a rose will give you in terms of characteristics. So we're always trying to improve what we already have. Mostly it's disease resistance.
How many roses do you start with?
As parents, we've got hundreds, because we're looking for so many different characteristics, so we have lots of different varieties. But over the course of the season, that will produce maybe 300,000 seeds.
Goodness gracious. Will they all come to fruition?
Not all of them, no. Maybe 100 to 150,000 seedlings, and they're all unique, every single one.
And you're quite good at maths as well.
Ish. So, Mary, these are the 100,000 seedlings I was telling you about.
So you walk down here looking at all the flowers, just as you did with David Austin Sr. You would put a stick on the one that you like.
That's right, yes. Out of all these, I will select 6,000 to 10,000 by the end of the summer, and they'll get propagated into our trials fields, which then they really start to get evaluated, and that'll go on for another 5, 6, 7 years.
Gracious. Out of all the masses of flowers here, you're only looking for how many?
Out of all these 100,000, 2 or 3.
Gosh, it is a long process. Do you have a favourite that's been through all this lengthy process?
For me, it's probably this one, Princess Anne, which we actually made 10 years previous. Very resistant.
I don't know about being resistant, but it has a knockout smell. I had no idea it took so long to create such a beautiful rose as this.
I'm here at this year's exhibit from David Austin Roses, and I'm joined by head rosarian Liam Bedell. First of all, what a beautiful stand you have here, Liam.
Thank you so much.
You really don't need aftershave or perfume when you're standing here, do you? The fragrance, it just hits you.
Yeah, we've got well over 700 varieties that are full of fragrance.
Oh my goodness, that is a lot. Now, what do you think, David Austin Sr.? It would have been his 100th year this year.
Yep.
What do you think he'd have made of this exhibit?
I think he'd have been really, really proud of what we've created, the range of flowers, shapes, fragrances, and that people are really enjoying it.
Yes, what a legacy.
Absolutely.
And it is just continuing. What's the most exciting rose that you're launching here this year?
Well, the rose we're launching this year is this one here, which is the Sir David Beckham shrub rose that gets to about 4 feet in height and 3 feet in spread.
It is beautiful. I fear there should be sort of screaming fans in the background when we mention his name. This is a beautiful blush on the outer petals.
Yeah, so it starts with this sort of yellowy apricot bud and then fades out to this blush. And as the flower then opens to a more sort of semi-double flower, really attractive for pollinators, and a wonderful musk fragrance with nougat and green banana and honeyed musk.
Nougat, green banana.
And honeyed musk.
I love that.
Thank
but
you.
Years in the making. We're talking
12
a long
years.
time. 12 years. And very few thorns, I'm noticing.
Absolutely, yeah, which is really useful in the
Is
garden.
that important? Is that what people look for?
For some people, yes, definitely.
I mean, roses are just so popular. What other varieties do you think people should look at?
I think the Tottering by Gently is looking fantastic this year. Shrub rose, single yellow flower, great for pollinators. Princess Anne, really, really strong variety, super healthy, great for containers or borders. And probably Gertrude Jekyll, voted the world's favourite rose last year and one of the strongest fragrances we have.
Oh, wonderful. It is beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. Now, this week, we've been meeting some special visitors to RHS Chelsea who've all been part of a BBC, RHS and TikTok search to find new gardening talent from the world of social media. Angellica met up with one of them, Johnny Hinks, to find out what ingredients he thinks makes the perfect space to balance a busy working and family life.
Johnny, tell us, how did you get into gardening?
Well, I've been gardening since I was a little boy. I remember going on to trips to Holland, and I remember just looking out in these tulip fields and thinking, oh my God, these things are actually real. My mum was a gardener, my grandma was a gardener, and I became obsessed.
So you actually balance out your gardening interests with being a firefighter?
Yeah, I'm a full-time firefighter. So on my days off, I create content around gardening. I try and make it accessible to people, try and make it relatable. I am trying to break the stereotype that gardening is boring, because it is absolutely not boring whatsoever. It's amazing, so good for your mental health. And I have some not very nice jobs at work, and I need somewhere to go and decompress.
Yeah.
My little happy place, and it's my garden.
Well, Johnny, we're sat in this beautiful garden, the Trussell Garden, and it's all about togetherness and trying to eliminate hunger in the UK. And has any plants stood out for you?
Well, it's actually got one of my favourite salvias in here, Salvia caradonna, which is just over there. I just love the structure of the plant. It is like architectural feature within the border itself, and the colour, the purple colour on it is absolutely stunning.
Really beautiful plant. It stands proud, doesn't it?
They are so nice.
Johnny, this is such a cosy spot, perfect to bring the family together.
This is a perfect example of not having a huge amount of space, but you can make it something amazing just like this. I can imagine bringing the kids out here, sitting in front of the fireplace and just enjoying the space itself.
Because you've got a fire pit in your garden, haven't you?
I do have a fire pit. I absolutely love a fire pit.
Which means that your garden is used all year round, even in winter.
Exactly. Like in the winter, we can get the kids out there in front of the fire pit, and it's lovely. With the fire pit here, And then we have this seating bench here, multifunctional.
So utilising all space in your garden. Another great tip from Chelsea. We all love our gardens to look beautiful, but they can also be productive and also be used for growing.
Yeah, so not only can they be great for your palate, but also your eye as well. And this vegetable garden is a perfect example of this.
I mean, look at the rows here. They are exquisite. I love that uniformity. We've got some purple potted peas, we've got some broccoli, all sorts.
One thing that really stood out to me was the step over apple trees. You can have an apple tree in your small garden. And when you do come to harvest them, they're down low and you don't have to climb up a tree to grab your apples.
No ladders needed.
No.
And just going back to that point, I mean, you could just throw in some flowers in your vegetable patch for good measure.
Yeah, exactly. We've got some alliums here, we've got some foxgloves, and it's amazing.
So we're ticking every box.
Exactly.
Now it's nearly time for another trip to the Chelsea Garden Clinic. But before that, remember you've got until 8 p.m. this evening to vote for your favourite large show garden in this year's BBC RHS People's Choice Award. Here's a quick reminder of the 9 gardens you can choose from. The Killick & Co, a seed in time garden, designed by Baz Granger.
The campaign to protect rural England garden On the Edge, designed by Sarah Eberly.
Tokonoma Garden Samumeya no Nimwa, designed by Kazuyuki Ishihara.
The Lady Garden Foundation's Silent No More garden, designed by Darren Hawkes.
The Tate Britain Garden, designed by Tom Stewart Smith.
The Eden Project Bring Me Sunshine garden, designed by Harry Holding and Alex Michaelis.
Parkinson's UK, a garden for every Parkinson's journey, designed by Arit Anderson.
The Children's Society garden, designed by Patrick Clark.
And the Asthma and Lung UK Breathing Space Garden, designed by Angus Thompson. If you want more information on the 9 gardens in contention and to cast your vote, go to the website bbc.co.uk/Chelsea, where you will also find the terms and conditions and the privacy notice.
The vote closes at 8 o'clock tonight, so you haven't got long, and we'll be announcing the winner on tomorrow's show.
Yes, now it is time to open up today's Chelsea Garden Clinic, and Frances is here to answer all your questions. Are you ready?
I think so.
So many great questions to get through. Let's start with Andrew from Worcestershire, who says, I planted a star jasmine in a raised bed against a trellis approximately 4 years ago. It has never flowered. My garden gets plenty of sun. What do you suggest?
I think it sounds like it's in too much sun. Star jasmine is very happy in the shade, and if it's in a raised bed as well, there might be water and drought stress, so I'd maybe move it to somewhere shady, give it plenty of water and food, and then hopefully it will recover and start flowering.
Things can change.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I've got Lindsay here from the Scottish Borders. Hello.
Hello. Hi, Frances. I have a camellia that doesn't flower. It's been in the shade for a few years, and last summer we moved it to the sun. Any suggestions?
I think you've done the right thing. When you've moved a plant like that, it will go into a sort of shock, and if it was in the summer, that would have been exactly when it was producing its flower buds. So you must never cut it late in the season, and give it plenty of water, plenty of feed whilst it establishes. In the next year or 2, you should start getting flowers.
Great, thank you.
There you go. Okay, Emma in Edinburgh on WhatsApp asks, my friend has 3 young children, so she needs something child-friendly, low maintenance and quick growing for her small patio garden. Any suggestions? That's a lovely one.
That is lovely. And getting children into gardening is the best thing. I know she said low maintenance, but I'm going to go ahead and say a tomato. Everyone I know, their first memory of gardening is that feel of tomato foliage and the smell of it. So grow some tomatoes, grow some strawberries, get kids interested in gardening. Miss out the low maintenance bit, let the kids maintain it.
Have fun.
Yes.
Get them involved.
Yes, definitely. Now, I've got Rob here from Swansea. It's actually his wife, Lisa, who's the gardener, but wouldn't speak to me. So Rob's got the job. She's shy. Rob's got the job of asking the question.
Hi, Francis. We've got a garage with a flat roof that we'd like to put some planted containers on. It's in full sun. What trailing plants would you recommend?
Trailing plants, okay. Full sun on a garage roof. This is going to be a tough condition for a plant. So you're looking for things like rosemary that hangs. You can get lovely varieties of that. So it can cope with drought, wind, maybe neglect. Actually this is Muhlenbeckia. So this is a lovely trailer. It will trail down, but it will also climb up. So something like that would be absolutely perfect, and it will spread really quickly. Doesn't need an awful lot of looking after.
Lovely, thank you.
Okay. And I want to speak to Sarah now, whose surname is actually Plant.
Oh.
And you're from Cambridge. What's your question for Francis?
Hi, Francis. I've been inspired by your garden here at Chelsea, and I'm really interested in trying to grow a pomegranate tree, and I was wondering if you could give me some advice.
Yes, I mean, so am I. I absolutely love them. They're not hardy. So if you're somewhere where it's cool, you might want to maybe get a small one and see if it survives the winter, and then invest in a lovely big mature one like that. But put them somewhere that's not too wet, that gets plenty of sun, maybe against a sheltered wall so it doesn't get frosted, and hopefully in the UK you can grow them. Don't expect big pomegranates though.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great advice as ever. And of course, we've been talking about gnomes, asking people to send their gnomes in. Emily on WhatsApp says, this gnome was made by a Chelsea pensioner of the Royal Hospital Chelsea. Good afternoon to them. I'm a proud tutor at the pensioners' own pottery studio, where they enjoy weekly classes and create wonderful things. Isn't that great? It looks so good.
And Sandra on WhatsApp says, this is my Arsenal FC gnome. Congratulations. Taken from my late brother's garden. He was a lifelong supporter and he would have been over the moon this week. Well, thank you for sending your gnome, and we remember your brother, who had been really chuffed.
Schooners have done well. And thank you for joining us. So much great stuff, isn't it?
Much, yeah.
We can all take it home and implement it. Thank you so much, Francis. Now, keep sending in your questions, please. You can text our WhatsApp number, which is on the screen now, or head to the BBC Gardens World socials using the hashtag Chelsea Garden Clinic.
Monty and Arit are back on BBC Two, 8 o'clock tonight, with the actor David Harewood, and a full roundup from today at Chelsea. We will see you tomorrow, 2 o'clock, BBC One.
We will.
Yeah, see you then.
See you then. Bye.